Welcome back. Welcome back. This is a DNA workshop. Level 2 is a part of Know Yourself. We're gonna do a quick review on a level 1, but right this moment, I suggest you could move the table or whatever if you want to have a more leg room. But I would suggest some of the essential oil to enhance some experience. There's some of the essential oil is particularly known to collect or align, make a correction in terms of our divine blueprint, sandalwood oil and cedarwood oil that I have it right there on the table. So feel free to apply if you like the smell. If feel free to apply to yourself. The smell or the sense of smell in this realm, this dimension, in a higher dimension, it turns into the sound. So it is interesting that sound here, tend to resonate well with the essential oil because it is actually same thing than the other side of the coin. So in a sense, you're applying the higher frequency, the divine sound, as especially particular essential oil, right? That carries kind of music in a sense. So if you are able to train yourself and listen to the essential oil, it is going to be the music. Just like a James resonate well with a particular sound, the sound that comes in this dimension it's a smell, just interesting. Okay, so from here to going forward, you're going to be bringing in a higher frequency information. So you could be very tired or excited, but it is it's going to be a little faster pace. However, it's more obviously to the experience base. So if you feel kind of a little sleepy, just stand up and walk around and have a cup of tea. Anything that make you stay, relax and calm, but don't fall asleep. That's fine with. Okay, so in a level 1, we went over the current science of DNA. Yeah, there's still a lot of things that we don't know. Or the things that you say, aha, I told you so, that kind of things, right? They're both happening. It is good that both spiritual community and the scientific community kind of come together in a point of merging. That is a sweet spot. Hopefully, you're going to see more and more of those sweet spots in the future. So in a level 2, we are going to introducing those kind of well-known speakers. For those who've been translating Emerald tablet, I hate to say that word, but the CD plate, the plates, right? Those are founder left us, right? For us to remember the part that we forgot. So they talk about the genetic element in DNA too. So let's explore that concept. An untold story of DNA, which kind of directly move us onto the activation healing of a part of our strands. And all the things we're doing so that we could access to the book of life, right? And use this energy that we're getting now, so it's making it as easier to retrieve the information you already have, actually. Okay. So let's go. So this is going to be a little bit more esoteric, more spiritual end of that DNA. Let's see. So the person that very sleepy probably the benefit of the reading. We'd like to have a volunteer here. DNA-based pairs. Any volunteer? Reading. Please.
Okay, I'll try to read. DNA base pairs, male and female. The main biological function of a nitrogenous base in DNA is to bond nucleic acids together. Adenine is always paired with thymine, and guanine is always paired with cytosine. These are known as base pairs. Uracil is only present in RNA, replacing the thymine and pairing with adenine. Both RNA and DNA use base pairs, male plus female, as a complementary language that can be converted back and forth between the DNA to RNA by the action of the correct enzymes. This male-female language or base paired structure provides a backup copy of all genetic information encoded within double-stranded DNA.
Yes, let's go a little bit more.
Okay, reverse pairing. This pairing always occurs in specific combinations. The reverse base pairing of DNA, as well as many levels of genetic modification and genetic will contribute to the suppression of DNA synthesis. This is the suppression of DNA activation of the 12-strand original design, the silicate matrix, which is assembled and built by proteins. This genetic suppression has been aggressive since the Atlantean cataclysm. This is directly related to the suppression of hierogamic union. Oh, I love that because I know the word hierogamos from Jung. That's the sacred marriage, the holy marriage. Anyway.
That's amazing.
Okay.
I'm very impressed.
So the holy marriage.
This is the first time I hear it, but you knew, see?
The hierogamic union, Cathara grid or tree of life, which is achieved by proper DNA base pairing, which can build and assemble the proteins to unscramble DNA fire letters.
Okay.
I read that, but I don't understand it all.
Yeah. Let's stop here because there's a few new words. I mean, not few, but a couple maybe less familiar words, and then depending on your level and resonate well or not so well yet, right? So let's pick some of the things, and I just gonna start the male female. I thought that's like interesting. I only find this expression from this speaker, but it's a good way to think of the pairing, right? You have all the pair, the male and the female. It's a nice way to describe the DNA, RNA. I always felt RNA is more like a feminine expression, but anyway. So let's talk about the different way to talk about DNA and RNA. Now we're talking about a little bit more eye-opening reverse pairing, right? And then the 12-strand original design, because we're talking about double strand, and it's maybe a little bit confusing, but when you talk about 12 strands here, it's 12 double strand DNA, okay? So in terms of the modern science, we only acknowledge, there's no 12 of them. It's only, right, a set of the one strands, one double helix. So they're talking about, no, we have even more. So that's what you mean by 12 strand, just to make it more like a definition. And then a second one, maybe gonna ask silicate matrix. What's that, right? So we are very heavy here, the carbon-based. Biology is called carbon-based biology. The next realm is the Tara, planet Tara, which is the next level up. This, so those beings who live there, it's gonna be half carbon, half silica, a silicate. Okay? And then a Gaia you spoke earlier, which is another up heaven, and that's completely silicate matrix. So if you have a body in biology corresponding to the spectrum of a higher dimension, as you go higher up, you get more light, less dense. And then your biology also shift. So carbon as being a densest, and the silicate is a lighter. So, light means be able to hold and resonate with a higher frequency, so bringing more light.
Now, glass is silicate.
Yes.
Crystals, I know you know about crystals. Are crystals silicate?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. The surface of the Earth, the most dominant element is silica.
sand at the beach.
Sand on the beach. Yes, absolutely. This is why we feel so good being on the sand, right? And then somehow a lot of spiritual people gravitate toward crystal. Yeah, there's some reason to it, right? And because we used to be more close to this. Now we are a little bit denser. So they call original, you know, quote original. Now I'm really I don't know. Does anybody else knew this word hierogamic? You
Well,
knew?
It's the two Greek words, hieros, meaning holy
Hieros.
or sacred, and gamos, meaning marriage.
Oh,
Like in polygamy and monogamy, gamos.
that's where the coming down
Yeah.
come from.
But it's a sacred marriage, and for Carl Jung, it was the sacred marriage is the marriage of the male and the female to achieve wholeness, the sacred wholeness.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's it is. I like Katara. You know the name Katara better than hierogamic because hierogamic, like, yeah, you know. But yeah, that's great. Now, anyway, it become more and more important later on in terms of accessing our divine template. And then if you're really serious about the more structural component of it, because behind the chakra, the hierogrammic union and Katara grid behind it, chakra is in between manifest and unmanifest. And the Katara, the hierogrammic union is talking about is completely unmanifest form. So behind the scene, and chakra is in between. So part of the chakra manifests physically, so you feel it, right? But feeling this hierogrammic union, you will need to increase the frequency. And there's a parts, the point in the body. So more you understand, maybe you feel a sense of it, and we will practice accessing the hierogrammic parts of our body. I think it's next level or this level. I'm not clear that the 2 or 3. Anyway.
But why the suppression? That's what threw me. Okay.
Yeah, very good. So something to do with the Atlantean categorism, and this become a very it's a little dark, but I think you already, some of you already heard some parts of it. And then we talk about the DNA fire letters. Okay, so this is a big one that we're gonna cover soon. It's a lot to do with activation. Okay, the fire letter, and it is a 12 fire letters. Actually, more. Excuse me, it's more than 12 fire letters. But these are what is a DNA fire letters, right? It's actually come with kind of symbol and looks like a burning, because remember the original biology was a silica. It looks like almost a crystal, liquid crystal, but it is kind of ever moving energy. So from this understanding, looks like a fire. The closest things moving look like a fire, but it's not like fire like a hot. Okay. And it's a sparkling like a crystal, but it's moving, so it's a liquid crystal. That is the closest, like a liquid crystal, the movement like a fire. Thus is a fire letter. But we knew those things before. You know, the closest expression of a fire letter is in the Hebrew alphabet. But it's, again, it's not complete, it's slightly distorted, so you can't put it together. Supposedly 4 to 6 letters are missing intentionally, so we can speak sacred language. Even the Hebrew language cannot make whole, but they have some clues within those character. It's not like a character itself, you know, has a meaning, but character, the shape, when our chromosome being activated right before the hierogram union, it takes certain form. So that is represented by the alphabet. There's a lot more hidden teaching behind it, but unfortunately, almost everybody lost, forgot what its original meaning. However, there are some truths in each principle. I haven't still talked, we're gonna go over why this happened, why scramble. But before we go, just let's talk a little bit about the definition. And you're gonna have this page, you could read it yourself. If you wanna a little bit understand a little bit more, what is a silicate DNA? Explanation is here. Dave, who just came, yes?
Yes.
Would you like to read this next 2 paragraphs? Is it okay?
Let me pull it up there.
I'm not sure you have this page. If you can see in the screen, that's okay.
Yeah, I can read it. It's real big. But,
Okay.
starting, original DNA is silicate. The original instruction set blueprint of our DNA is a lattice of pure liquid crystal, an ideal transmitter and receiver of energetic resonance, intercommunication, and perceiving a variety of levels of consciousness. The original instruction set is what connects our consciousness to experience the God source levels of our personal Christ consciousness. 12-strand DNA. The original human DNA pattern is arranged into 12 dimensionalized mathematical programs, each of which set the blueprint for one DNA strand. Each strand is composed of 12 base magnetic muon female codes and 12 base electrical dion male acceleration codes. The 12 base codes and 12 acceleration codes hold the mathematical program for each double helix strand, which combine to form a 12 set of vector codes. One base code plus one acceleration code is equal to one vector code. 12 vector codes of the human genome manifest as 12 nucleotides that form the nucleotide base pairs, which are the entire DNA strands are composed. Due to the NDC, Nibiruian diodic crystal grid at Stonehenge, England, also called the checkerboard mutation, unnatural sonic control program installed in the planetary field, only 4 of the vector codes have been active in biological Earth life since Luciferian rebellion. The foundations of human DNA is miniaturized crystallized frequency, that is, patterns of electromagnetic light that magnetically group into crystalline form. These multidimensional crystalline templates are referred to as DNA seed codes. The DNA seed code, the template for one DNA strand, is composed of 12 magnetic particle units and 12 electrical antiparticle units. Each DNA strand is composed of the frequency patterns and light spectrum of one-dimensional band. Each DNA strand represents a 5 letters code program sequence corresponding to one-dimensional frequency band of consciousness. 24 seed codes equal one DNA strand. The level of frequencies that are accreted into the personal morphogenetic field will determine the level of DNA strand assembly that you possess. As a person pulls in more frequency bands from the dimensional unified fields, the personal frequency accretion level rises, and thus more DNA codes can assemble and activate.
Yay! Pretty impressive after lunch. Thank you so much, Dave. So it is it's easy to put you to sleep, but just to summarize, right? Oh, what's going, did I make it bigger, smaller? Okay. There's a little bit, a little bit of things that we are not familiar with. And then something to do with ascension, something to do with a dimension. And did you notice that the 12 nucleotides, and we only know 4, right? So that's the silencing happens. So majority of, even down to the atomic level, like a periodic table, right? There's a lot of things hasn't been discovered because of being put away, right, behind the scene since Atlantean time. We may gonna go about it. We're gonna go about a little bit more about why and what really happened. But more importantly for us now is to know that our original structure, the original DNA templates, which is directly correspond to our divine blueprint. So originally, the religion, right, so-called religion is reunite, rebind. That is the original word of religion. Is nothing to do with worshiping externalized God. It's to become this, back to the wholeness. Hologram reunion, category, a lot of tree of life, a lot of those terminology we use, but it's everything is point to the blueprint, the original, the wholeness. So the whole, right? That is basically the ultimate, and then back to source and then back to the divine self. It's a wholeness. And if you go to any religion, that is basically the enlightenment and beyond. The wholeness is where the holy came from, and holy day, wholeness, and eucharistic, katara, eucharistic, katara is another way to say the tree of life. Tree of life is the original blueprint, and wholeness, the mathematical perfection of a divine self. So almost every single religion was supposedly based on to help the humanity back to the ascension, to basically complete our original mission. Now, this is the minimum of the strand. If you're human, angelic human, would have as a template. So every single one of us has this potential as a template. What's the difference as now to this is merely the level of activation. So when you're coming in, that you have to be fully activated, strand 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more to comfortably alive here. So everybody has this activation. Some people be able to have an interdimensional communication or has an easier time to access the past life, for example. And those are the people who has more activation in these strands. Now, some of us is activated higher strand, but not complete set, right? That's why we cannot live in a 2 different dimensionalized, reality in the same time. We don't have bandwidth or the level of consciousness that could hold the template. It's not there. So not the template is not there. It's just activation level are not sustainable, let's say. Now, the particular time of the year, and with the help of your friend, let's say, the Beatles, our activation level will be able to sustain a far longer than normal time. This is why people go to the sacred site, gathering, to sing a song together, or whatever the form. If you notice, the human get closer, right? Whatever
solstice,
the form.
equinox, full moons too.
Yes, there's some abnormality in energetic pattern that, in a way, the poke hole in a net. So you get some access point. Now, if you know what's happening, it's you could focus on or you intend a particular thing, so it will happen to your liking, right? Or you could just have a fun. But anyway, for this class, we like to consciously access, utilize this energy like given to us to do the important work. For many of us is to complete the mission or to back to the wholeness, right? So you could heal yourself or dissolve the karma, for yourself and then whoever you're connected to, pretty much many number of the people. Each human has at least connected to a few thousand people directly. And one, as soon as you raise the frequency, it becomes 100-fold. So think about by healing yourself, increasing activation level, just doing your own work, the reach you have. Just simply you're here, exist and breathe. Become permanent when you exit. Okay, so it's no single death, is minimized, right? Every time you come in, manifest here, and demanifest, you have to go pass through the seal called the tribal seal that you belong to. So one of the biggest common seal that we belong is the human tribe seal. Animal has its own. Okay. So every time we go in and out, you leave your personal energy signature, imprint the seal, and go off. Each time you imprint, affect the entire seal. Okay, so think of how you exit. How significant that is. The U.S. state exiting. And it's really correspond to this level. So let's say there's a being who has entire 12 strand activated, exit this world. Just one single being could save the entire collective. The karmic burden, let's say, will totally transmute. Now, I understand if you fully activate 12 strand and exist, I think the earth could hold only 1 or 2 people simultaneously. It's such a high frequency. But that's a kind of power you have, each of us have. Now, this is a very important imagery. Just looking at this itself, that your DNA is also exposed to, okay? Because you are seeing your body and then your cell and your DNA, not necessarily chemical DNA, but the unmanifested DNA will receive a lot more information. Okay. So it's almost like, okay, this was I was supposed to look like, right? By looking at the mirror, and then some of the part of the DNA will start to reassemble, for example. You could use this as a meditation and upcoming, the practice we do. So you could ask which strand I need to heal most now to access the record that I need this point of my life. That's a very specific question you could ask. And then some of the strand may light up, or you could hear the number. Everybody receives in a different way. But this is pretty good. If you have a piece of paper, you could draw this, right? I'm more visual person, so I like to draw things with my hand. But basically, it's a clock face, correct? This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, you have this in your auric field. Do you remember the Maharic seal that we practice all the time? The Maharic seal is your DNA template, divine template, which I told you have a many different self in a different places. Unmanifested you, which is a parallel antiparticle you. The DNA template exists 12 inches below your feet. Actually, sealed is only 6 inches below. The chakra is in a 12 inch below, but the sealed is a little closer. I'm sorry, the other way around. 12 inch below is your this template reside, seal reside. Okay, 6.6 inches below is the chakra point. So you kind of chakra point project out this way, and that's your DNA template. 12 is behind, 6 is the front, and 3 is 3 and 9, right? Am I correct? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So that's below here. And in this physical one, above, it's the same thing as an above. But it's if you want to heal, you want to heal from the bottom, the unmanifested one first, right? So that's kind of like, that's where the project out is reality. So this is why we practice Maharishi Seal meditation. And that's where your personal Maharishi Seal, which is a DNA template, reside. Okay. So I'm not sure you remember the Wednesday meditation club. You remember we practice, we are in the center of the clock phase. Yeah, so we are building up to this phase. So you feel more comfortable visualizing this, you yourself in a circular room. Right? And then each, there's a door, 12 door. Okay. That's a very good way to practice this DNA activation. Are we good so far? It's okay. I mean, there's a lot of uncertain places, but the main point is to get to this. Another important thing, I just want to say diamond sun. So the original human, if you be able to, if you are visit to and be able to look at yourself, you look like a diamond. It was sparkly diamond, like, you know, there's many facets, you know. So that's why the founder named children, which is us, angelic human, a son of the God, because you look like a diamond sun. So it's not the sun, S-O-N, it's a S-U-N, son of God. You know, somebody changed that, right? Very tricky. But anyway, you are the son, we are the son of God. Some people had double diamonds in the center. Those are the indigo children. Okay. So just to come to that little bit of a tough subject, who would like to read just this? This is where are the the wind. Junk DNA. Yay. Rona, did you just came? Can you see?
Yeah.
Do you like to take a shot at this?
Sure.
Yeah.
DNA damage began 5,500 years ago when Babylon's Sumner invasion erased DNA race memory at Stonehenge, except for chosen ones, reptilians. Distorted holographic tree of life took out 8th dimension and 12th dimension. Blocked life force and kundalini natural flow, glands, pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, thyroid. Shortened lifespan and damage immunity set up for recycling to astral 4D. Scrambled geometric codes and morph fields blocked multidimensional perception. Rewrote human history from 5,500 years at time of invasion. Patriarchal denomination and enslavement agenda for Earth humans.
Great, thank you. Some of you, it's been hard, you know, like a repetitive story that you probably heard, but then maybe some of us it's like a what, right? Are you talking about the sci-fi movie? And it is. I'm not sure your take where you're at this point, but again, going back to the junk DNA. So imagine that you have such a potential. We are used to be able to speak to all the animals, life force, elemental, be able to I don't know, you remember airbender? Yeah, so we are a bender of all the elements. So we are able to interact. We could go into the fire, we could breathe in the water. Now we have to fight for elements, right? I mean, we use a fire, we have to put it off. In the water, we have to put something to breathe. Right? It wasn't like that before. But anyway, so that other thing happened because of the much of our genome being turned off according to this. So this is a kind of a representation of junk DNA. And one of the things was also erase memory, because our DNA record and carries all the information. So if the, let's say if our DNA being function properly, we don't really need to learn. Just like a bird, right? Just like those I don't know, little fish has no parents. They're fine, they live. We too, we didn't need, not necessarily needed those nurturing for decades. You know, by age 4, we knew that most of the 30% of all the incarnations be able to speak full language, right? And remember the history, the mission, and soul family, and why you're here. A lot of time in Tibetan monks did the train, right? They could do that by age of 12 or something. However, some humans still could, well, somewhat human or humanoid, which is the selected here, the reptilians, right? So they do know the history. They do understand who they are, why they are, what they are, yeah. They understand the history, go beyond what we know of the history, you know, on the textbook. Anyway, so that's maybe a little dark, but if you're interested in learning more, the materials are here. Try to make it, oh, they don't want to. Can you go back to less magnification? My computer is not responding. Maybe it's needed to be big. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much unless you want to know a little bit more in a particular part. I could explain briefly. Otherwise, I'm gonna go forward. Does anybody has any area that want to dig in a little bit?
What's the point of the enslavement? Who's getting something out of it?
Ah, that's a big question. I always have a big question. The important one. Yeah, why is slavery? You know, why? So so basically, it's a who's let's say who's getting a direct benefit. Well, first off, the who has the most power on this earth. I mean, they are not truly human, right? Those are reptilian people. It looks like a human outside. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I can't say just all reptilians wrong, but there's a particular group of reptilians that decided to do this. So they are the one. I mean, if you be able to not able to work and not need to work and get everything, some people will choose. Why not?
That would be great.
Yeah, and you're gonna keep reincarnating back to the same position.
Well, I think about Egypt and the wonderful culture, the art, the amazing, you know, language and hieroglyphics, everything, and the monumental architecture. But it was all built with slavery too, and it was a very hierarchical. And there was the pharaohs and the royalty, and then there was a little bit. So is that?
Yes.
Should we
Very
admire
right.
their culture or not? Because they were totally dominators and enslavers.
You're absolutely correct. Those pharaohs, all the names you just said, they're the part of them. Okay, so that's been going on. But it's some of them are awakened. They understand they're not good, but it's very difficult, I heard, to give that up. very, because you're gonna be what's gonna happen as soon as you sign off from that, you're gonna no longer remember who you are next time you're born. You're gonna be working in a system to death, work like a whatever horse.
Or unless you
Whatever.
woke up, now the Buddha was born a prince and everything, and
Yes.
and he decided to wake up, by
Yes.
giving up his riches and power and things.
Correct. They have to go through the extraordinary things. Now, I'm not saying I need to say that a lot of things we see here, like one word, you got to be very careful in a particular group of reptilian, obviously, or the awakened one, the more ancient one, far more spiritually developed, right? Those are being are not like interacting with the earth. Okay, I mean they're all, they're not like handling the human, let's say, because it's, they understand the equation of the universe, because no matter what, how you try to find a glitch in a system, they have like tremendous amount of karmic debt they're putting off, right? Who wants to do that? But some decided to do this. Now there is a motivation behind. It was it's kind of hard to believe, right? But we're all founder. Those are the being. It's not like a really lower, soul coming up. They're one of the highest residing beings, the big consciousness, right? And the reversal on the DNA happened, and the war in the heaven, it literally happened and split, and that's how the whole thing started. So it's a part of who we are, but it's really part of the DNA being significantly reversed, distorted. No longer remember what it's like to be with source. It could happen, and it is happening. Unthinkable things happen every day. The important message, but I just want to stop here. And anybody else, like any comments, something to add, or?
Well, even if you activate your DNA, you're still stuck in this enslavement. So wouldn't you just be frustrated then, because you realize what you could be, but you're stuck in this world where you can't be what you're supposed to be?
That's a really tough spot to be awakened, right? You want to pass that if you're gonna awake all the way, because that's like could be worse, and it's better be not awakened. You don't even know you're stuck, right? The mouse in a cage, you don't know it's been stuck, but once you then realize it's unbearable, right? Yeah, that's a good point. Now you're gonna go back to sleep.
But I can see just in the United States, we're run by corporations, and those are run by big families that are probably
Correct.
connected.
Like a hierarchy, right? All
Yeah,
those hierarchical
right.
things.
Yeah, so we're like making believe that we're happy because we have a job with these corporations, but we're actually slaves for the corporation.
I mean, so I refuse to work for a corporation. So I mean, anyway, so
Oh,
so
I
you don't have
work
to.
for a lot of corporations.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I work for all these nonprofits and whatever. So I didn't. Yeah. I mean, you don't. So we're not forced to. We're not forced to.
That's true. I guess just how I was raised. I was raised to work for a corporation.
Yeah, we
It's
were
like
conditioned. It was all
my family's tradition.
heavily
is to,
conditioned.
work for General Motors. A lot of my family worked for General Motors, and that's big.
That's supposed to be like a fast track, right? It's like
Right.
that's supposed to be. That is supposed to be happiness and things. Yeah. No, I totally get it.
You don't have to be what we're conditioned to be. I think that's, and my father worked for RCA for 40 years, whatever, but I mean, and for some reason I said, I'm not gonna work for a corporation when I was like 18 years old or whatever, you know, I said, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not absolutely not gonna do that. And so whatever, so you don't have to.
Right, so we don't get a chance to do what we want until we retire.
Yeah, sometimes you feel that way. And then if it happens when you retire, a lot of people get sick, you know, it doesn't last too long. So there's I resonate well with what you just say. So why we're here, right? But nothing is too late. And but anyway, it looks like you guys are kind of buying this story in one way or the other. Are we good enough people online? Any comment, question, or?
Like a different purpose of Stonehenge, I think we've seen today.
Okay,
You know, I think earlier it talked about some sonic signal coming out of Stonehenge, and here it says erase DNA memory at Stonehenge.
yes, it's the same things. So it is very smart things happening, but it's actually scary. It's called checkboard mutation. Very sophisticated scrambling message, which the Stonehenge used to be the Stonehenge was sacred, the hierogram Union Temple, the paired with the one in England. What was the name of the temple? It's very famous. Will come to me eventually. So female male temples, and to support human ascension, but it's been hijacked, and there's a crystal, a selenite crystal being embedded, and then paired with higher dimension in the Nibiru, planet Nibiru. There's another crystal that being placed. They're in a communication. There's a lot of those giant crystal embedded throughout the earth. That's why you are seeing those cave of the huge selenite that it's not from the earth, came from somewhere else, right? The scientist doesn't know how that's happened there because it didn't happen in a 3D way, interdimensional insertion. But anyway, long story short, using those gigantic crystal because they are such a, especially selenite is a wonderful transmitter, use that to beam the basically sonic weapon. This is a constant things. And through the grid, the ley line and grid of the earth, it's this scrambling that frequency so that we cannot, it's hard for us to put things together. This is why we have a lot of language barrier. We used to speak one language and we know, or you could speak any language, but we knew what you're talking about. We didn't need any translation. But every single language being affected because it's a skip code mutation, and then like a checkboard, like every other nucleotide, like a sequence being affected. So it's not like a simple fix. And then the next grid has offset, and every other code is being mutated. So it's called checkboard mutation. Supposedly it's a mess. When you're speaking to those guardian or whatever. So when the message comes to you, right, from your soul family or spirit family, when as soon as it hit the Earth's atmosphere, it's called net, N-E-T, it scrambles, like mumble, and then we don't understand what it is. Because brain can translate because it's already scrambled. So that's called checkboard mutation. Now, if you go to the certain place, it's get worse. If you're directly on the Stonehenge broadcasting point, it's gonna be severe, right? I don't know that maybe but it used to be a sacred place that people want to go there, be blessed or whatever. I mean, at one point I kind of wanted to go after I ran this, okay. I don't want to get close to it. Anyway, so it's the same thing. It's a sonic pulse.
Disruption.
Yes. Yeah. So the each mission, I understand the gray line, like the one of the Jesus, the group of Jesus who came down, that's one of the biggest mission was to cap the Stonehenge. So no longer we broadcast it. But I understand it's failed. Anyway, if you study the Stonehenge, is a few horror terror story, things that happen in that circle. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's a one way or the other. It's a powerful temple, and unfortunately, that's the 11th gate.
So is the only way to fight against something that we can't see is by collective energy?
That's a good point. I won't say fight against, but I think it's that you could maybe first is not to add the energy to it, So that means getting onto the agenda. That's like a big thing, Don't waste your energy. Don't give it to them, and then continue to expand, mind your own growth. Because why you worry about these things, and then what are you going to actually do about it,
Yeah, because we can't see them.
We can't see it,
or interact
what are you
with them.
doing? Who's going to justify? Are they going to pay you? By doing a good work, David, years ago. So I mean that's that's something you have to take it on a personal, level. And some people do is a great work, right? Some people cut themselves, try to minimize interacting with system, or doing more grounding work just to stay calm and peaceful. And that's like, our original nature. You're very kind of laid back, calm, and speak to basically a guardian of whatever. So you be able to interact with all the elements and animals, So I mean, you could get close to that lifestyle, and not to buy into. You have to work to death, or you have to have a certain things. I think it's hard though. I mean, you're gonna have to, ease into that. But that's individual choice. Some people get very active, and like I know that my dear friend's husband or ex-husband, working on a conspiracy things and distributing all the, to put the information together in a magazine form, and then send it out to subscribers, just to awaken up the people, So some people might take more active role in that. So you have a many different ways. But I think to me, the most important thing is your wellness. And then stay healthy, because to me, if you're not healthy, my mind doesn't work well. And then try not to be a fear mode. There are a lot of things you can do to avoid it. But I'm really grateful to have this information, and unbelievable people out there to receive information and transmit, right? Those are the people being death threats and all that, targeted, constantly. So yeah, it's not an easy job. Look at the reason I can't find it. Thank you, Rona, for reading it. We started, early, Rona, so that's why. So you could read a little bit more about how this could happen, kind of things, and I have a list of citations, so you could go really deeper into it. And then some of the history you probably know. Of all the damage being done, but the biggest one I heard it was Sumerian Egypt invasion. And you see those artifacts in a museum, right? And this is those called giants, right? The giant came on Earth. Yeah. And this is a really reversal, the significant reversal happened during this age. And then you could really see from this artifact, and then you could really tell, maybe not so obvious, but this is like somebody flying on the top, right? And do you see here, look like a fish-like being? Those are really like a bipedal dolphin people. And these are giants, Sumerian. And this is, I believe, this is depiction of a tree of life, like a genetic.
It looks like chakras maybe too.
Okay, that's could be. Yeah, I think. Yeah, this is also, each one represents some of the symbolic
The
significance.
chakras over here.
That one circular one has what, 16
Mm-hmm.
versus the 12 that we were looking at earlier.
Yeah, it is interesting what that is too. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not 100% sure. It is, up to your research. But this is something happening clearly. And human is one of those tiny ones. Not in the picture, but we are small. We're small. So this is how the childbirth pain started from this. It's a trauma. The woman didn't have a childbirth pain. It was very pleasant experience until this Sumerian invasion. The giant, basically forced breed with a human on Earth is much smaller, right? And then forcing the earthly human female to give birth to a giant baby. So that is supposed incredible amount of pain the female collective experience, and we still carry the karma of the childbirth pain, right? Maybe not every single woman, but there's some carry more than the other. It's just my personal note. I don't want to go too far into because it's get darker and darker before it's get to see the light, because it's pretty dark. Isn't it like a bottom already? But it looks like they could go even farther down. So yeah, hold your breath, right? Okay, let's just go into the DNA untold story. Okay, who would like to read this bullet points? Volunteer.
I can read.
Okay, thank you.
DNA Untold Stories. DNA holds memory, both past, current, and future. Together with cells, our DNA holds memory of self and other self-related identities. When our DNA is tampered with, we lose a lot of part of our identity. DNA is transmitter and receiver. Our DNA plays an important role in communicating with our higher identity, our expanded consciousness, as well as higher power. When our DNA is healed and activated, our ability to connect with many things and beings will expand. We start to comprehend and align ourselves with higher purpose. DNA is conscious. Unlike all of our mainstream science tells us, DNA is conscious and fully alive. What we can see now is a form of chemical atomic structure. DNA has non-physical, non-manifested from right outside of our physical body. DNA strand identifies who you are. The pattern and number of DNA strands tell who you are, which spiritual group you belong to, and who are your soul families. DNA is transmitter. Through DNA, we receive and send communications intradimensionally. When our DNA functions normally, we can talk with plants, animals, crystals, and other stellar beings.
All right. So I think this is more exciting than knowing a dark history of humans. So we're gonna focus a little bit on the brighter side, because you know what, it already happened and then happening, and let's focus on something we can do. And as you expand your consciousness, it's amazing that you start to seeing your path and what are you supposed to do, and then the next big things are waiting for you. So let's talk about this, right? So the pattern and the number of DNA strand tell you who you are. So this is a huge. So we all need. I mean, really the best way to me to come to this point where you be able to decode a strand of DNA of each being. Then you going through these suits. You're not seeing these things embodiment. You're seeing directly to the DNA, and understand where they belong. Right? It could be somebody come in the form of an angel, angelic form, but could be completely ass. And then that's something you'll be able to see through it. To me, the most exciting part is be able to communicate with any conscious, sentient kinds. It would be so much better. I think we could maintain so much more harmonious life. Could talk to all those plants and trees, animals. I guess even sometimes we can't talk to other human fellows. So I don't. but I think to me it's very exciting. Which include the crystals. All right. I'd like to introduce a couple of diagrams to kind of grant this information a little bit, because it's a lot of technical term like flying through, and some of the people tried a different way to represent. It's not like really look like this, but just conceptually understand. Like this is another way of looking at DNA strands and acceleration code and base code. You remember the female and the male part of it, and then coming together to create the Star of David, which is the Merkaba. Every time any consciousness or being you see, there is a Merkaba. Okay, that's because the living, that's how we live. And the DNA is no exception. And just to go through a little bit more detail, we are not really going through this too much. But I am showing that the level of activation, right? It's 1 through 12. And here, the physical body should have a total of 36 full chromosomes, 12 for strand 1, 12 for strand 2, 12 for strand 3, for a total of 36 full chromosomes. We have a 23. We are missing 13 chromosomes. So think of the potential to activating 13 chromosome and or even collecting already we have will reach so much more. And how many of us kind of consciously think of our DNA outside of our body that is actually the projecting this reality? We're interacting with each other because we share a big part of our DNA fragments together. This is how we exist. Same thing, the Earth. We are sharing much of a genetic code with Mother Earth. This is how we manifest here on Earth. Some intelligent consciousness can live like us. It's not just only the density difference, but because they don't have a code, a morphogenetic code that match to the planet Earth, so they can manifest here. I guess we're gonna meet.
So when you get reincarnated, how does that DNA information get into your parents' DNA?
That's a very good point. So the big part of the unmanifest DNA, it won't ever pass through the embodiment. You bring it with you. So that your DNA will come with you. but then a certain element you will inherit. So the portion you will inherit and manifest also as a chemical DNA. Yeah, yeah. So that's a tricky part. Some of us in a better position pick the parents well. So you pick the parents, the DNA fragment you want. Not necessarily within a very close spirit group, but you needed their DNA, right? Because certain DNA may be so reversed, you need it. So that's how you you choose the parents from that purpose. I seen those people a lot, including myself. But then you also inherit their karmic input. It is your job to transmute it. If you transmute, likely you're transmuting their karma too. You could also add more, right? So this is why at a certain point we kind of have to grow up, stop blaming our parents, and then have to kind of act on it, because that's unfortunately that is true. You are inheriting.
Clarify. So we inherit our parents' karma DNA from our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, etc. But soul-wise, we might also inherit something
Yes.
from
Yes.
reincarnated somebody in India or whatever.
Absolutely. That's soul-based
Both those
karmic.
things are.
Absolutely. It's yes.
They
Yes.
just get mixed together, or the kind of.
It's in it reside in a different layer, right? So like you talk about Gaia, right? We have a collective trauma and a karma from Gaia. Not all of us, but some of us involved heavily, let's say, pretty inside of the problem, let's say, right? And some of us just happen to be manifesting a time-space continuum away from the karmic cause, but the one who actually actively involved in a karmic process, they'll manifest here.
And again, the soul chooses those parents, so the soul is choosing
Likely,
the DNA in a
yes,
way.
likely those are the people gonna get together with has the same karmic imprint from Gaia. Because those are pretty high level. It's not easy to, So you have it's how do you say this? I heard this is the best place to transmute karma because you're kind of close to the recycling back to the source. This is where the closest to the the end part. That's why it's easier. The bad part is we are not necessarily consciously transmuting it to understand. So you did an incredible work, right? You transmuted the karmic imprint from Gaia. None of your family member would know your heroic act. There's just no way. Because it's not like a show up in a degree or, on the media and a flash line or CNN or whatever. It's not going to happen, right? Because your work going to be quite silent to majority of the people. But nevertheless, everybody is here pretty much the karmic eater. We are eating karmic away.
Robert Thurman, the famous Buddhist, I saw him, and his father, Uma Thurman, the actress, is famous, and he has like 6 or 7 kids, and I saw him speak for 5 days once, and he said, whenever my kids are giving me a hard time, I complain, and he said, I tell them, listen, kiddo, I didn't choose you, you chose me.
Sometimes I feel that way about it. I was thinking, you came to me.
Yeah. Just let him tell him, just tell him. That's
But
right.
you accept it though.
Well, no, I mean,
The person have to
He
accept
loves
it.
it,
It's
right.
never be
It's
one
just, no,
way. It's
just-
not like a love at the first sight, but
he makes a lot of jokes.
yeah. No, there's just some truth to it. It's funny.
There's some truth to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's truth to it. Buddhist truth to it. Buddhist truth to it.
I just wanted your DNA.
Let me pack and
But then you
go.
don't have to put up with me. It's a package
Thank
deal.
you very much. And let me pack and go, right? Yeah. But those questions too, it's simple enough, and then the message will come through in a very clear way. And the thing is, to me, it was very helpful. Knowing that, to me, it was very helpful. Put me to the more peaceful state quicker.
And even for me, that in a way, that I had to stop resenting my parents so much. If I think, well, if I chose them, what sense does it make for me to be resenting them and complaining like his kids did, So then you let go of that. That's a dead end anyway.
Well, you could also ask, let some kind of record that it's relatively easier to accessible. So, please show me how I pick my parents.
Why, whatever, but I
Yeah.
have some ideas about that.
Yeah, you could bring it back sometimes, bring it back to, so those are the questions very powerful because they could help you,
Mhm.
to show
Right,
you in a
why,
very
yeah.
specific. If it's a babe, it's gonna be, they have their own interpretation. Well, that's not how I asked.
How is this part of a story of my healing or healing? Or, how is this part of the story? of
Yeah.
healing? Yeah.
I mean, it's helpful because sometimes it's so intense, it's between family, within a family, and then you require some, light. You need more light, a different angle, right? To fully comprehend and digest, so you could live life better. Basically, you could stay at a higher frequency. Okay.
Space lines, all that. Yeah. Okay. So I've been.
Let's say, do I have, here, our parents combine DNA to grow a physical body. This DNA not only include a contribution from our parents, but also input from prior generations, our family lines, our race line, going all the way back to our racial origin in prehistory. Elements of physical DNA can be traced back continuously to ancient common ancestors, such as mitochondria Eve and Y chromosomal atom. This is our physical and historical DNA. Let's see, is anything too worthwhile to reincarnate into our physical bodies progressively from soul or higher dimensional realms. In doing so, we enact the fundamental process of creation. If foundational state of reality is a pure eternal life of consciousness that is a whole and complete in itself. It is absolutely alive and free. It's not conditioned by nor dependent on anything else. This freedom includes the freedom to create. So this is it's more the discussion about creation, and it's beautifully written by Tobin. I recommend you to read if you feel like need some intellectual stimulation. I will highlight this just a little bit and then go to the little quick break. And then give you some card to take a look for your that activation. This is a little busy, but I only wanted to show so that to organize in a way when you're accessing your strands. So 1, 2, 3 is one of the first things you may want to try to feel a sense with your inner vision or inner self. Okay. This is another Hoover body over this physical body. And the DNA strand also correspond to the chakra. Okay. Also correspond to meridian system. And also correspond to dimension. So strand 1 is root, chakra root. Okay, this is strand 2 is the sacral. Strand 3 is the solar plexus. That's this color. See that? Okay. Now, if you're like a visually oriented person, try to visualize activation level of DNA, which I tend to do that. I tend to heavily rely on my vision. You don't need to. And then look at these first 3 strands and compare to the last. And if it look different, that's your hallmark. You are kind of guide. Okay, so this is how I see activated strands, right? What else? Which strand am I been activated already? Right? So that's kind of good. This is a reference point. Now, if you could advance, there's fire code in between the strands. And clearly we activate those one, otherwise we don't manifest here. But then this is the activation code. When this is fully activated, it will show something inside. Okay. And then that's kind of ready to go to the next level. But anyway, that's maybe too much detail. Anyway, so let's say you see those 3 strands being activated, or just be able to view it, and you could ask to your inner self, show me how clear is my strand 1, my strand 2, or my strand 3. And then sometime I see the smear around or a block, and then that is something going on. Even though it's activated, it's something going on, and you want to heal, right? You want to heal that area, and you will send directly the Maharik seal. Maharik seal, there is a liquid, like a platinum light into it until it clears. So it's kind of instant detection and clearing. Don't wait for, oh shit, is something wrong with my strand too? Well, just heal it now, just send it until completely clear. Okay, then go back, and then next and next, right? Now, the higher it goes, harder, it takes more time to heal. So that means every 3 to 6 months, go back and scan again, and then see how you did. Okay, and then there's one good thing is each point corresponds to each chakra. So you could send a Reiki to the chakra point. It is good. It's a chakra is a great system because connect to the physical body, but also connect to the non-physical body. So send a Reiki to that. Now the next set, 4, 5, 6, is a soul identity. This is when you're activating those strands, you access to soul group. So like let's say you want to see soul family, soul mate. You want to check into, you want to activate these here. So when you see it, the person, or be able to meet in a dream and things like that, right? Because you're ready. You are actually manifesting that reality, and reality exists already, and you are just directly accessing it more consciously. Also, this is the planet Tara, and the next level is Betcha Hoover body. So this is what we're gonna do today, today or tomorrow, Betcha Hoover scanning. Once you get to this point of activation, you'll be able to read. Okay, and you probably be able to read others. Please ask permission, or they ask you, come to you, and please read. Because if you just start scanning, you're going to get a karma by doing that. Right. But anyway, this is what a spirit group. Okay, that you're going to identify more clearly which one you belong. This is a spirit group where likely have a very specific mission you came from, and this is a corresponding planet, Gaia. And then some of us, after this Tara has a lot of history. There's still wars going on, but a lot of things, nuclear explosion and happened, and some of us fled to Pleiadian or some Sirius constellation until heal and then incarnate back to the Earth. So some of you have already gravity feel like friendly feeling toward the aliens or a particular group of alien, likely because you spend a sufficient lifetimes before coming here. There's a reason is because of here, and we're refugee. We are the kind of refugee, and many of us got stuck. And even Earth here, but some be able to spend different place. in a similar dimension. Okay. So now here, once you come here, you'll be able to access all that history. So this is gonna be, once you came here and hear the activation, you're going to, your incarnation history will be probably not like a human. So don't be scared of seeing some different creature, right? I mean, you're thinking, no, right? It's why the sky is orange? Because it's not gonna be look like Earth, right? Okay, so because Earth is only third dimension. I mean, there's no Earth here. Okay.
So when you die, are some of the other levels activated so you could move up?
So that originally we are not supposed to be here. So we are already off from all of this. Completely, none of those places we are supposed to be, but we're still here. You have if you, so the more you activate the strand, you probably be able to pick more freedom to pick. You want to go back here again, or you want to go Tara or Gaia or some other corresponding places that you probably has already residence. You may not remember now, but you do recall when you get there. Okay, I belong to this family before, and you give me an agreement. I want to be with you. You know, so they say yes, and then they go. It's kind of like that. It's not like you're not gonna go through those incarnation cycle. You will remember. You know, you could just go into there. Oh yeah, come in.
Dark side of the moon. I got a house there.
Oh my God, hopefully not. That's not, it's no good being live there. I mean, it's very few good being there. I don't know. I went there a couple of times, even more than a couple of times. It's my karma. By the way, moon is a little bit more artificial installation, but interestingly, it's a compilation of different broken up parts of it. So they are actually the gate to go to fifth dimension, and I think maybe 9 or 8 actually, 5 to 8. So some people go moon first to get to it.
Okay.
You know, so it's not like all bad. I always ask, why are you going moon? I don't want to go moon, but anyway, so there must be some sacred part left in the moon too. And then the last part of it is a Maharipsiyo, the Maharata, Pruva body. This is when you call Christed being, right? When you reach to this point, you're going to have a halo, and it looks like a wing because all the chakra activated, the non-physical chakra. So it looks like the energy movement go in and out. From outside, it looks like a big infinity sign in the back you're carrying. So I think it must be those ancient people, the artists, still be able to see those things. But if you drew that, it being executed, I heard. So then they decided not to depict it and then more make it like a wing. So it's not really the wing, it's an energy kind of infinity sign in the back and growing, right? And the halo is also when the 9th, 8th chakra be fully activated, it projects like a halo above the head. So it is not like it was you talking about you. Angel is you. It's not like somebody visited, but it was you. When the human is activated in a higher level, that's what it looked like, the energy run, and that's called avatar or Christed identity. So that's 10, 11, 12, and this is a color is important. This is a dark blue, dark indigo color, like a dark blue, black together. And then this is a platinum, very pale silver, iridescent. And then 12 is all the color. So you can recognize it, but it's all look like white. And I'm sure from the higher dimension, it was two different color, but from this, it looks like just white. Bright. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's take some break. And while you're taking break, I'm gonna stop share. And I'm gonna pass around this code. Actually, this is actually also a being. The people on the online, I will share the screen. So you will pick at least one. I'm not going to explain too much because it's not good. You go with your heart, you know, the feeling. And all of this card is very powerful, and it will help you to collect healing and then access to the help you to access the book of life. So I'm gonna pass around. It's a duplicate, so don't worry. And I will show you how to induce.
We take one from each box or just one?
No, that doesn't matter. It could be 1 or 2, or it could be 10. But I would suggest that let's start to talk with one entity first, and then maybe back up, right? And you could always go back to the box. Now the folks in the online, I would like to share on site. I mean online. Let me see. Let me
Yeah,
open
hold
up
on to this,
my.
so you can get one less card. Choose from like this. You know?
If you already have a favorite one, you could use. You could also use bring a crystal that calling your attention.
I just picked it blind without looking at them. Is I don't know.
Yeah, why not? It's no rule.
Doesn't have any
No
good
rule.
words,
I don't know.
but it's very evocative image.
Let me see. Okay, I think I have something on the web actually. Let me share that first.
Well, now that's interesting. Now I just look. This is what I think, right? Blind. I didn't look. I just picked it from the back.
Oh.
Okay, right?
It's almost
Okay.
the
What?
same
Okay.
one, right?
Well,
So when
And
I
then-
do,
and
can
then
you
you gave me
see
this
this
bit.
one?
In the first one.
Oh my
I said, I'm gonna
Sorry.
look at the pictures now.
Oh, right.
They're the same.
They are the same.
Yeah. Oh, there's many of them
Actually,
in there.
these are-
Yes, can see it.
God. Okay, thank you. Thank you for confirmation. I
all the
wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on
Okay.
one side.
I would,
On
if
one
you don't
side,
mind,
they-
I would definitely take this
okay.
one,
I didn't get that.
for the backup
So the other
because
side is-
The other side is
Is
the.
the image.
has the highest coding.
Okay, thank you for clearing that. That's-
Okay,
Otherwise, we.
can you do a screenshot or something, or maybe I could send this so that I will send this page to Dan. So that Dan could
Yeah, I took a screenshot.
screenshot. Okay, good. All right, so that's the one for sure. And then
I've seen that picture before. I think.
let's see.
It's very
How can I-
evocative.
That's probably Asbury Park Beach.
Maybe.
Your screen sharing is closed. Okay.
Oh, but the other
So
side.
then-
It's actually on the webpage.
Yes, but they
Yeah.
don't have access to the web page. So if you could send the page. Do they, maybe you're right,
There are some
Dan.
repetitions.
Yeah, it's right there, the picture that you sent.
Okay, cool.
It's right here on the webpage. on the-
Excellent.
At the
So that's
website.
That's the one. And let's see, I just need to give
So if
something.
if you want us to have anything other than that one, you'll have to send it.
Yeah. Zoom out. Okay.
Can you buy the cards somewhere?
Say again?
Can you buy the cards somewhere? Where did
I
you get your
could-
cards?
Somewhere.
I could have sent you. Where did I get it? It's in the Freedom Teaching that they keep taking it down. I have a file. I could just send the raw file if if you like it. Some of them. So this one. Also, if somebody has a comic imprint from
Can't see
the
that one. It's just a blank.
this one is just a blank.
You're not screen sharing that. You're screen sharing your
Okay,
Yeah.
I see, gotcha. Thank you, Dan.
Ah, there we go. Now that I can screenshot.
Yeah, this one I use this for when you have particularly some comic imprint from Knight Templar. I unfortunately I'm involved in that, so I need to decom it. So this I use this one. It's really good one, but it's also that one of the highest codes. So I want you to have it. Did everybody got it?
Yeah, screenshot it.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
I have it.
Hold on.
Oh,
I gotta paste the other screenshot to do another one.
Okay, all right.
You heard us talking about it.
Does anybody have something on a Stonehenge here and online? Stop share. Okay, I said no.
You can look it up. I mean, it's all over the web.
Okay.
What part are you needing?
Yeah, if it is, I could send this. I will go into share this. This one is also on a website. The Akasha. That's always good. Yeah, I wish I remember then, all the things when I was downloading which site, but it always, moving target, right? Because we're being chased to ask to take it down. So this is Akasha. Very kind.
Way back when I told Heidi. But I said, I think
And I'm gonna share one more.
special destiny. to help
I have a
people
feeling
grow.
this is somebody, one of you need this. Are we good with this one?
Hold on.
Oh,
Okay.
wait for Dave.
So hard. Said,
All right, got that one.
Okay.
told me
Last one. Hold on.
little that she went to a psychic. The psychic told her that my voice was going to be
Oh,
a special vocation for me. It hit her. She said, it hit me so hard. So she acts so strongly, so emotionally. Everything. She's, believes in psychic things and past life and all our destiny. And all that stuff.
there you go. There's all the information. Funny Manu.
She was meant to hear that.
So then when we talked to the police, she said, I never had any communications with him at all. All they ever said to him was like, good, thank you for singing. Nice
Good?
job," whatever. Nice.
Good on that one.
Okay.
Excellent.
She just
You
lied.
don't feel you got the one
I
you
think-
need, just tell me. I have a more code, but I
Said, you got it.
think I will cover.
Exaggerate, exaggerate.
Can you show the second one again?
Say whatever you mean.
Which one was that?
She went along with it.
The special one, I think you said,
It's really good, lousy.
Hmm.
Stonehenge or
Oh, okay, got you.
False testimony to get somebody.
Okay.
It's the one with the flame on top.
Right. The Templar.
Perfect angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
Hold on. I have to out
she tries.
screen share. This one, right?
It's the Sarah Bareilles song.
Yeah, that's the second one.
Actually, it's better because the name underneath. That's probably
And it says
important.
in the
Oh, L.
Brother Show,
Leah.
But it's she's kind, but she lies. She's hard on herself, but she's this, she's that. It's
So
it's all
those
the
are
good and
light
bad.
languages.
She all baked up
Written.
into a beautiful pie.
around
And in the movie, the waitress is the one that baked the pie.
Sorry.
okay, I got that one. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good. All right.
It's an incredible
So,
song. She used to be mine.
I just want to show you, you probably remember, but I just want to show you once and again, the how to induce. Okay. So I'm gonna show you how to induce. Which everybody got at least one? Oh, two of you. Oh, I love that symbol. I mean, that's a feel good symbol. I like that too.
Oh, good.
Look, I like it so much. I made mouse pad.
Oh, well, yes.
Oh,
I'm just
Good.
showing them.
I-
Oh, well, first of all, it's what does it mean? Well, you're gonna ask this being, but this is
It's another 12, it's another clock, another 12.
it's just so
another
many
12.
so many being actually in it. So it's kind of depend on what you are doing, but this electrical one, it works well by placing your right hand over the palm chakra.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Now, it's funny you both picked that and you're both male and then solstice now. Maybe I need to share like that folks
Oh,
in
they didn't pick the same
online.
one.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, I feel called to for this symbol. So I'm gonna show you the one I pick. Now the how you this, to me it's better that it's so funny without the glasses. Okay. So our third eye
Makiko said.
third eye
This one works
is
well.
actually
Such a-
correct location is a little bit different place. So our third eye location being shifted a little bit, just like our sacral location is to be shifted. So it is best to activate into the light location. In order to correct our third eye, first we need to uncross our eye because our eye going like this, but it used to be here, here. So we're gonna by crossing it, we are uncrossing it. It's so weird. In order to uncross it, we have to make it cross eye. Some people could do a cross eye, but I can't. Where I found it, the best way to uncross or cross your eye to uncross it, to place a symbol right next to like very close to almost touching a nose. Okay, and don't look at it to the symbol directly. It just look kind of like just looking like here, look like here, but the card is here. So you sense this card here, right? Yeah. And your eye automatically going to the card, but don't look like this. Just put it next to the face, but just a gaze at it.
Look right through it. Magic.
I know it's look like it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And now, slowly, don't change your eye focus. Just relax, relax your eye. Slowly put it away. And you start to have a double vision. Okay, good. And try not to strain your eye. Just continue to have this double vision. Okay, it's almost like a completely separate, right? And sometimes merge the tips. I don't know, depending on wherever you are. And then use your breath to merge these two images into one. You could move your hand, or you could change your eye and into the third eye until it become one. And then my mind's like back and forth like a rubber. Like, when you snap back right back to it, you try to do it again to try to make it close, like a slowly come together if you can. But if your eye get really strained, just release it and just close your eye and relax it and start doing it. So now I'm just going to explain. So you take a break. You could keep practicing while you're taking a break, right? So going like this, double vision, and then slowly bringing back in the march by inhaling really short and quick. And go right into the third eye. Imprint in the third eye. And inhale again. And close your eye. And then feel that the image is latched onto the third eye, go right into the third eye imprinting. And exhale down to the Maharic seal. 12 inch below your feet. And it's just the symbol just expand. And then inhale. Back to the third eye. Okay. And exhale out, project out from third eye to the symbol. And in this process, correct your third eye location and then the imprint. Okay, this interaction. You could do a couple of times just to be sure. All right, it's kind of fun. You know, so once you do this a couple of times, you relax and take a break. And then after you come back, I will show you how to talk to the entity, which is part of who you are, by the way. But now it's a good to keep inducing and relax. All right, so gonna take a break. Break.
All right, so you want me to pause here?
Yes. Yes, welcome back. So now we have a helper, the big helper. This is your ally, your old friend, your equal partner, and bring your business and then a healing opportunity. So gaze at your friend, and those are flame entity. So repeat their name 3 times if there is, or otherwise just gaze at it, flame entity, flame entity, flame entity. And I request, or anyway you could, I intend. Okay? I will start with, help me heal my DNA strand so I may access to my book of life. Help me to heal
Heal my DNA
so I
strand.
may access my book of life. Help me heal my DNA so that I may access to my book of life. And I just continue to gaze at it with intention. This is my intention. Intention is to hold your frequency at the set point, no unmoving. Okay, so you're gonna be grounded, you're holding the intention. I hold my intention and gaze at it. And you could keep repeating a name. And inhale. And exhale. And the third eye is the entry point. Okay. And you're going to do a journey with them, and then notice that maybe particular parts of the symbol lit up or kind of peak, you know, kind of ask you for the additional attention. So try to focus on those points, likely more than one places. So you can just condition yourself that you can focus multiple points at the same time. Sometimes they're accessing your DNA, you're healing, right? So when we're going through that journey, we're going through that kind of portal, they will take you to that area. When you do this, it's kind of like flying carpet. Okay? That's how I say it. They're going to march onto your Maharic field below your feet and then take you to the place that you need to go. So some of you have to go some other places to experience, because some of you have already activated higher strands. Okay. So this is a little bit in the future, I'm explaining it, but you have it tonight to work with it. So you inhale into the third eye and then hold and exhale down. And then visualize a symbol expanding below, beneath your feet. This is your Maharic field reside. Okay. And they're kind of expanding like a big carpet below you. And you're gonna either go like a horizontally, or they're gonna circulate into through the center point or backward. It depends on which the time vector you need to visit for your additional healing or exploring or whatever. Sometimes they ground you here, right? So this let it be, and don't get frightened if you feel like you're going far away or something. You feel like a very I don't know, like nurturing and calm and peaceful. That's kind of the light resonance. Now, if you feel absolutely nothing, not even a slight chance of anything happening, you could pick other code, okay? It's not like you're bound to it. And sometimes the code start to shine, kind of like, like a crystal, like, all of a sudden like glowing, and then that's a sign they're engaging with you. And then you could try other one, okay, if you want to. And usually they have a backup code for you, and then kind of wanna use it for the induction. Now, many of you here pick this one, the Real Tour. This one, and this one has additional function. So it's electric code and work on the right palm. So you could do the place your right hand over it. And exhale. And then this one is imprinting on your heart chakra. Okay. Now that some of you received that feel good code, and I think it's Diane, and you picked that one. So that's the elemental commands. A very powerful code that collect the sequence. If you be able to heal using this, basically collect the sequence, the accessing the elemental kingdom. So you're gonna be more converse, like be able to access to elemental realm, which is include the crystals and water and all those elements, and then also correspond to the things that made of elemental things, so the atomic, element, structure. So that's pretty powerful. That's why I say feel good code. It brings 144 codes, elemental signature. Now, some of you people online receive the very complicated codes that contain many different codes. That means have many different entity and beings in there. So you may want to follow the very first one you feel and just focus on it and follow your feeling. Okay. And then I don't mind you taking that code with you and sleep with when you go to bed tonight. All right. Are we good with the induction and interacting with a code? Let me just go to okay. So the codes that you have and bring the higher frequency, which is most of it have a 12th dimension and a higher coding. So that will override a lot of distortion and a mismatch. A very powerful code. Okay, now let's go into, okay, let me share the screen. Okay, So you can see this. Oh, okay, here you go. So steps toward freedom. Freedom is to become a whole in the wholeness. And in this time, specifically the freedom is to allow for a lot of awakened people to exit this dimension, the dimensionalized land, right? So that you are completely free as a conscious being, the pure conscious. There's no reason for you to bound to a time or space. So the truly free spirit. So anyway, so usually that's one of the complete freedom. But even though before we're gonna go, we wish to choose, be able to more consciously choose what type of life you wish to have, what kind of life experience you want to have more of, and less of something, right? So it's more like a freedom, and be able to stay in a desired experience as long as you can or you wish to have, right? That's another kind of desire to be completely free. So to get closer to it, we will need to kind of overcome the 3D challenges, blockage, because those things will block you from accessing the higher frequency. The first one is false and negative belief, which comes in different programs and also shows up in the thoughts. Sometimes, and more often time, negative thoughts and repetitive thinking is coming from other lifetimes of the karma that you experienced. So that it's not necessarily that you did something in this life, but given an opportunity to dissolve and transmute the karmic imprint from other incarnations. Now the program we talk about, the social programming and also the negative alien programming, which is now came from the Earth, off-Earth programming beaming at us, and it's very, very strong. It's come in the form of, for example, jealousy, laziness, the must compete at all cost, even down to divide and conquer. All those are negative programming that is not alignment to the angelic human. And each time you expose to the program, imprint it, more we learn that program, more it stick and stay, and it's difficult to deprogram. But the easiest thing is as soon as you recognize, okay, this is not the program, work well with me.
Would you associate, I thought of this recently, reptilian with our reptile brain, which is supposed to be the survival, fight or flight, very primitive kind of functioning. I thought of that recently.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. What do you think? It works well when in a certain time, but when it's overtake the life.
Right, we need it to survive.
Yeah, we
But
need to
it's a nasty, very brutal,
Yes.
it's a fear-based way of,
Absolutely. So yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because there's a certain, energetic circuits, right? It's being manipulated so that we stay in the fear mode. So it really shouldn't be there.
Mhm.
But it's it is a programming. The wiring is down to biological level. So a lot of time we would really need to collect from a higher level, which is a mental level. You need to disengage the biology, really.
And then different parts of the brain though, too.
Exactly. So by
Tripartite brain, it's in the
by
amygdala versus the neocortex, all that stuff.
right. So by activating a higher consciousness, be able to override and eventually become more natural than, but right now we have to intentionally override because it's been forcefully re-agitated system. So we don't really need to activate that much anymore, but it runs automatically. So if you don't do anything, it will continue to run those programming. This is why it needs to be stopped. I mean, you look at the outside of people driving a car, like, you know, going to war or something, you know, what are you doing?
But when, I mean, we still do, but when the world was a difficult place to survive and there was real scarcity and you needed the reptile survival function more, if we could make a world where people could have the basic needs met and they could be safe and secure with food, clothing, shelter, whatever, you know, it's, we saw the war going on in Ukraine right now, whatever. But ideally, we wouldn't
Right.
need the reptile, you know, functioning too.
Exactly. Exactly. A lot of people running that mode, right?
Yeah, but people, some people enjoy that. Well, I don't know, they're hooked on it somehow.
Yes. Yeah. That is actually the Aryan programming, and they are the force. There's a coding and tagging and all things happening. But those are easy override. But once it's in a mode, if you're not conscious enough, you're gonna continue that type of life until, you know, forever.
So your DNA can change somehow, yeah. You know.
Well, think about in you know, spending a fear-based state for the rest of life, what kind of damage it could give to DNA?
Yeah,
You know, contraction and
cortisol levels damage your immune system, the whole thing.
yeah, rapid aging, probably more distortion and mutation.
Yeah, bad health, yeah.
Absolutely. And not just that person, but whoever around the person. Be very negatively impacted.
Bad energy.
Yes. Yeah. So the salts and things. So not only yourself organically producing, but from other sources projected onto you. So you will need to respect your boundary, right? So you will need to secure you need to respect who you are. Hey, those are not wanted energy. Then you will need to come up to the solution or strategy so that it won't come into your field. If you simply stop seeing those people, turn off the certain things, or expose yourself to the more like-minded people, you know, spend time with those people, or going, you know, the beautiful nature. There's a lot of different things you can do. You almost have to believe you can do, right? The first thing is to recognize it. That is a difficult part. Some of the belief system are so strong you don't even know you're running because it's been there forever. Those are tricky ones. Those are programming also. I would say stick to any belief system as long as it works well for you until not. You know, that doesn't define who you are. So don't put your life to any belief system, right? It could be once it become block, yeah, that's maybe the time to move on. The second big thing is the healing, and then the shadow self is probably one of the biggest installment put upon us. So when it happened, the distortion of the DNA, there is so-called the shadow and lower ego. That's, you know, separation from the source start happening. So the wholeness, right? We're going toward the wholeness. That means we are less whole, which is true. What will happen is, as a part of who you are, used to be who you are, become hijacked. It's almost unrecognizable, but it is kind of part of us. So what do? You know, oftentimes that's a lower ego, or oftentimes it's a, you know, shadow self. You have a choice to heal your shadow, to increase your capacity so you could ascend easier, or the certain part of shadow at this point you're no longer be able to help. Then you have to make a decision. Let that go, the part, you know, or how you don't deal with that. But that's something you will need to decide. Okay, we're going to take a break for now. And once I gain a little bit more energy, I will deal with you. whatever it is, hopefully your shadow self is not bigger than who you are, right? And I see a lot of people who has a bigger shadow self, and then shadow self is controlling who you are. And at that point, it's kind of a little late, unless you know you're twin flame or something that come in and rescue. That's some part that you know maybe dealing with. That's what make it complicated, right? The life. Now the reprogramming, heart-based living, and the possibility interact with DNA. That's really where we want to put most energy. Monitor your progress by scanning your DNA. So this is what we're going to learn. This is why I think it's important to have some dedicated, it could be tiny, dedicated notebook, and put some data on it. I would say minimum every 6 months, if it's not more, but don't do every day because it's not going to change. You're just going to give the more confused you. We can't really change the DNA that quickly. But if you have some like a huge life-changing event, maybe it's a good time to check. There's probably something happening in your DNA. So we're going to do today, and I think good point to mark is the end of August, and then winter solstice scan. Okay, we're gonna learn how to scan our DNA. We're gonna do this as a baseline. And then again in August, the reason I'm saying August, the peak, magnetic peak will happen. So it's electric magnetic, so it's a good time to consolidate our learning. And then take that as a reference point, and we're gonna do the winter solstice, we're gonna do again. At that point, how much we progress, right? Sometimes we have a more strength to heal the second time around because you do so well. Now you need to work on this one, but likely the more strength being activated or more strands being healed by them. Okay, well that's our goal. This is how you kind of measure our progress. I put it out this Mahadra Adharana. This is probably one of the highest mandala, the symbol. Okay, has contained almost everything. It's a little more feminine expression. Okay, well, it's a feminine planet. So if you have anything or nothing, just come to this and then stare at it and meditate and say this name 3 times when you talk and request. Or just simply, you don't need to work on it all the time, just simply be with this flame entity. This is a lot of different entities in here. And those are the Kirby scripts. Those are light language, but the angelic languages. So it's an every space being coded. All right. Okay. Now, you are doing very good because you are a little slightly ahead. We're gonna move on. If you have any question, we're gonna move on to the actual exercise. We could come back to the karma. Anybody who's very interested in a karma, in a particular karma you want to hear from? Like I feel like you are experiencing over and over. I'm sorry, keep moving here. If you feel that way, the nature of karma, just a refreshing definition is really helpful. Anybody could read this? They could kind of stay awake.
I'll read it.
Okay.
I'll go.
Okay.
Healing our DNA. One of the benefits to heal our DNA is to clear our energetic blockage, temporal and more persistent karma ones. The nature of karma. Misalignment of our mind, body, spirit system with divine template. It affects this life and others. It affects our DNA. recording, receiving, and transmission are all affected. Karma exists as energy form, manifesting from non-physical part of ourselves. The effective way to deal with karma is to deal with the healing energy that are targeted to the karmic regions.
Yeah, excellent. So it is coming from the higher dimensions. Okay, so the very well said that somebody, you said about the Gaia or as a time, and a lot of things we're dealing with, much of it coming from there. Now, I also say like the disease, like a cancer, diabetes, and those things, it actually coming from quite a high level. Usually affected our crystal body to some region, and in a form of a dense, non-transmutable form, which you could call karma, and it manifests down to even to this level eventually. So it is not a bad idea to consciously talk to your higher, the crystal self. Hey, let's work on this together. I don't want to have this. I don't want to experience this, the karma here, right? Let's dissolve this together. So that's more of the effective way to approach karma. And then you also be able to get away from victim mentality where, that's another programming to put us in a very lower vibratory state. That's me. This is my the real experience that karma also alter your perception because you affect your DNA. So when your DNA is being distorted, the way you see and experience are also distorted. So do you see that some people that no matter how many times you say no, they are not laughing at you, they're smiling at you. But some people say, no, I'm scared, it just has those reactions just cannot, there's no way you could convince the other party. The way you see, which you feel that you are share the reality, right? It's called share the reality. But some people just stay in a fear mode or have a different idea, the projected reality. A lot of time because of the affected the DNA. So as you heal your DNA and access, let's say, your record, maybe perhaps with someone or someone special, or it could be somebody not here, right? And going back again after you heal, you will receive slightly different version of information. It's still same event. The way you perceive was shared.
Two questions. One word, misalignment here. That karma is a misalignment of our mind, body, spirit system with the divine template. I'd say until you're the Buddha and totally enlightened and free, you have karma, and that's the business of being a human being.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a misalignment. That's just the business of being a human being. Anyway,
yeah, that's true. If you don't have a karma, you probably have no business
what is
being
good
here.
karma, bad karma, whatever. But karma is just the baggage, all the baggage you accumulate, and being a human being, and from experiences and conditionings, and and memories, and
Some people call the human as a debt consolidator, the living debt consolidator, like Hoover vacuum cleaner. Because we are putting here to clean up other people's mess, maybe.
But you could flip it and say it's a joyous, it's human comedy. It's a human comedy. We go through this crazy stuff and we do silly things and we make mistakes, and it's just the human comedy of being alive. It doesn't have to be negative. Seeing it as negative, I think, might be labeling it as negative could be a karma, a conditioning. Why label it as negative?
Yeah, but it is a negative. That's usually what the association with karma. in a healing also for some people is too negative.
You don't think there's good karma and bad karma? Is it- In your past life, you did lots of many good deeds, whatever, that's karma, right?
Right. Well, it's depend on like a definition, but in general, karma is, I mean, this case, in this particular thing, is healing our DNA relationship to that. In this case, we're not talking about the good karma. In this one, and you could define it any other way. But it's a good to have a more comic view of it. You know, we need to laugh a little bit more. Okay.
A question back there.
Yes.
Karma exists as energy form manifesting from non-physical part of ourselves. What came to me was party key, party K, party come. You know, that whole process. And if it's all connected, driven by consciousness, how can we affect it? And you know,
yeah, that's a good point. Actually, since you mentioned, just gonna explain that part. So that's a trinity, and as you with trinity, it comes with three. The third one you can see. So the Bibeka and Tribeca. The Bibeka is a form that the third one, the the Partiki, Partike, the Erie, that the third one is being absent, but that's not necessarily it's not there. It's just not being seen. So Bibeka form. In Tribeca form is the third one is being depicted. What happened is a karma in this earthly current earth is the third one is being intentionally omitted. So you can transmute a karma just going in a flow, let's say. So it's not completely omitted, but it's not strongly expressed, let's say. So you have to consciously manifest that, the Trinity, not away from the basic Pisces, strict basic Pisces, because it's the third one is missing. So the long story short, yes, if it's a natural way, you're right. There's no way the karma exists. But this is a semi-artificially created reality. So it does, the karma does exist from this point of the teaching, the tree of life and not. Yeah, that's a good point. Now, we're going to bring out the original energetic form, which is eternal consciousness, the ever flowing. There's originally we don't really need to lose a consciousness between lifetimes. So you basically kind of intent, like David said, right? You're gonna just say intent, there's I wish to experience this life with this family. And you appear, you make agreement, and you goes on. It's not like you're going back to the fetus and then you forget everything, and then unconsciously, hopefully you hit something and then you awaken. That's what are happening kind of now, right? We all forgotten, but it wasn't. So this was something that your opportunity to going back and really bring back to the eternal conscious self. So we're gonna practice this. Okay. DNA template baseline reading. So this is when your reading is happening. So you have your symbol, and then you remember the diamond template. Do you need to take a break?
No.
Okay. And then I want you to have a kind of pen and a paper. If you have this booklet before, and it's probably best to write it down here so that it's kind of bound document, right? You could track it, but if you don't, it's okay. I like to have a like those notes time to time, right? And then it's gonna keep it as our record. So we're gonna do the baseline reading. Does anybody need to take a quick break, or you keep going? We're going to use the symbols. You could reapply your essential oil. You have a crystal of your choice, different crystal around you. You could bring it closer. You know, you use your friend and ally and a pen and a paper. Let's do this. It's involved with, initially you're probably gonna focus on the healing, and then some of you probably go, dive into it. It's okay. You could just do a couple of times. It's not like once and all kind of things. And make sure you feel good about it. Kind of like, kind of shake your hands and then move your feet a little bit and move the energy. Okay. All right, you ready? And just stop sharing and then stop video. Okay, folks online, you guys okay? Ready?
Ready?
Okay. So you're gonna be reading this. Let me go. Okay. If it's allowed, make sure your tailbone is aligned to the ground, so your spine is relatively straight. And something in that you could, lean back to it would be better. It's the best thing is to be on the floor, your butt on the floor. But if it's possible, otherwise just spine relatively straight, so that your tailbone is facing to the ground, the Maharic seal. Okay. I mean, if you feel more comfortable, you can lay down. Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to feel comfortable. So if you feel very strongly, you want to lay flat, you are accessing different places. So go right ahead. It's no problem. Make sure none of your clothes is make it you feel tight and everything loose.
Is standing okay?
Standing, wow, I won't recommend standing. You feel standing very strongly.
Yeah, I kind of
Okay, then stand.
to get comfortable. Yeah.
Okay, then let's stand or whatever. Just make sure
Okay.
you don't fall, or if you fall, it's okay. Area.
I can't. Yeah, I can't fall far.
All in a soft place.
Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, let's put the helmet on the Dave. Okay, so this is a very quick and a powerful meditation. So we're gonna all do this together. Try to feel your energy first, grounding firmly to the earth. And the people that are online on site, expand your energy field, and you're like a feeling each other's, the energy. It's like, we are in the same fabric, kind of things, and then expand that consciousness to Dan, who are in California, other side of West Coast, and also the Dave and Lona go all the way down. To visualize and imagine they are here with us, energetically right here on top of us or next to you, however you feel their energy signature. Each of us has very unique signature. And if you try, you feel which energy you're interacting. And ground yourself with the earth, the Mother Earth. We share a lot of DNA. Any distortion happen on earth, we feel it. And then the vice versa. So we're gonna be healing together with Mother Earth. The one template that bring us back to the correct divine blueprint is a symbol you have. So make sure you have a symbol near you, and then just open your eye very slowly and gaze at it, the symbol. Inhale, exhale, down to, so inhale into the third eye, exhale down, all the way to the spine, all the chakra, down to the tailbone, and then project to the Mahalik seal. We're going to send a massive amount of gratitude. Thank you. Let us bring the joy, the pure joy. And sense of freedom, to be able to let go of all the baggages, all the karma, whatever that no longer work well with us. Just take it off like a clothes, a layer at a time, until you feel completely free. There's nothing you really need to bring to the next level, just a powerful, right set of attitude. Bring your innocent child, invite him or her into your heart. Inhale into your heart. Start to feel the lessenless gravity, almost like a sense of levitation, like a floating. And clear your mind. I want you to visualize the powerful waterfall behind you. The pristine water coming right from the sacred mountain. Feeling a splash of water behind you and the water running through your spine. You feel energized. Your skin is alive. Try to slow down your breath. And continue to visualize the waterfall. Slowly move your awareness below your feet. Remember the symbol you expanded. Visualize a symbol below your feet. As vivid as you can. You may slightly open your eye and inhale and exhale. Now you feel the drop of sacred water appear in the middle of the symbol and it's slowly expanding outward. This is your pure consciousness expanding, merging with the symbol. You are directly interacting with the flame entity. Set your intention now to feel in a sense and visualize your DNA template. Dear flame entity, please show me my DNA template now in a way that I can understand. Show me the full strand of DNA, what it looks like. What is my maximum number of DNA strand I may activate? Simply inhale and exhale. Some of you are taking a journey, leading a path through the waterfall to the little path. And slowly you open a little door or enter the cave of light. There is a being, a conscious entity waiting for you, waiting to show you the place you need to go, the things you need to see, a person you need to meet. Wherever it is, you will see the number or hear or feel. This is the maximum number of the strands you potentially hold. It could be higher than the 12. Trust your instinct and write it down, the number. If you can't sense it, you just make it blank or just place 12. Ask the flame entity to provide a number. You could open the folded paper and there are the numbers. And then I ask the second question, am I a diamond sun or double diamond sun? Yes, the number 1, 1 or 2. Some of you are something else. Am I something else? Yes or no? Which DNA I need to heal the most at this time? Please show me the first number. There is a second thing I may be able to heal at this time. May I request to heal those strands now? If it's a yes, breathe in the Maharic seal. Hold within your heart. Exhale out. Infuse the Maharic seal, the energy into those strands. You will flow to the correct place. Continue to breathe, inhale and exhale until you feel and you sense and see no blockage, any dense area being transmuted away. Notice some resistance in a part of the body arise and just simply notice and acknowledge and send your thankfulness, gratitude. Thank you. And send your love. Next, visualize yourself in the center of a circular room. You're seeing a tiny you from above. You see yourself in the center of a circular room. The light is dimly lit. You start to see many doors. Each one is positioned like a clock face. The door behind you is number 12. The door in front of you, number 6. 3 on your left, 9 on the right. And you see the rest of the number just like in a clock. Some of you have more than 12 doors right on top of it or below. You don't need to focus on those. Just focus on the first set of 12. Now there's a light beam will come through the one of those doors. It could be just simply the very much energy. So you don't need to worry about it. You don't see or you don't sense. Just simply know somebody just opened the door and coming in. Try to relax your body and knowing that the symbol, the flame entity will facilitate this meet. Some of you, this is the first time you meet this being. Inhale slowly into your third eye. Hold your breath. Exhale, relax. Request to your symbol, the entity. Receive the message in a way that you can comprehend in the most effective and efficient way. And simply count your breaths up to 12. Inhale. Exhale. That's 1. And continue breathing up to 12. Now the being will bring you the power number, the power strand. That is your position of your incarnation. There will be one of those 12 positions. Simply ask, what is my position? Where am I stand? Which number I represent the most? It could be a number it will pop up, or the door will open, or the being will simply show you the way. Trust the first number you see. It might be different from before. Now ask the same question, except which number or which position influencing your current life the most? Which incarnation influencing you the most this lifetime or the moment of now? It may show the position, or it may show you a being, a person. Continue to send a gratitude toward a message, with the message or without the message. We are going through the tunnel of light. There's a blanket of light, I would say. It's feel like the texture of light. A part of the flame entity, we're going through their consciousness. Ready? Inhale. Bring in the flame entities of conscious mind towards you. It could be very feminine or masculine energy. Through your etheric skin, to a little above your skin, the physical skin. You're bringing in the information now. So inhale, using your skin as if your skin could breathe. Inhale. Bring closer to the bone, your physical bone. And let it go through the bones. And let it go into also the blood. And exhale very gently. You will receive the one important symbol. You may receive in a palm, or you receive in a third eye or heart chakra, depending on which DNA strand you're opening up now. You try to, not to understand, but try to feel and sense. Okay, ready? Inhale. Thank you. And exhale. Okay. This is the most relevant incarnation this lifetime and this time of now. That is what you are shown by this being. Let's place our hand together in front of the heart chakra, the gasho position or prayer hands. And send the gratitude to the being. And inhale. Mahari exhale up into the third eye. And exhale. Slowly open your eyes. Stay relaxed. And write down some information you receive. Continue to hold the intention if you haven't received the message. Good job. I forgot to tell you before, but since we're doing as a group, sometimes we receive other people's message. And it's very true because the person is so willing, so excited, and the being comes through the person, the more open to it, and they leave the message. So if you really feel strongly that's not my message and somebody else, please do share so other people usually benefited by you doing that. Now, we're going to stop recording here because we're going to be sharing, and some of them could be sometimes it's personal, so it's probably the better to stop the recording now, and then we're going to do the sharing before we complete this session.